text, images, video, and audio is similarly to what human beings do. So today, I'm sharing the stage with my colleagues. In particular, I got Marco from Professional Services team, and I'm really glad to have Fabrizio in representation of the Iveco Group. So let me go through the agenda of what we will present. So first of all, before entering in the solution that we have realized for a product in Iveco, we will give a background of the company, and we also show the history of this company in order to let you know and enter in the automotive sector. Then we will step back into 2019 when we started to have the partnership between AWS and Iveco Group, and progressively we will go through the various milestones that we have reached together with Professional Services. Also, we will deep dive into the process that we have applied to our interaction. We will then arrive to the real core of the session, which is focused on the realization of a new product where generative AI is the real basis, and we will discuss about all the technical details of the solution. We will finalize then the talk with the next steps that are in front of us, and then we are also open for a few questions, if any. So, with no hesitation, let me invite on stage Fabrizio.
Thank you, Alessandro, and good morning, everyone. I'm so excited to be here today. It's reInvent 2023. And I would like to tell you a little bit more, first of all, about myself and my company. I'm Fabrizio Conicella. I'm responsible for digital advanced technology in Iveco Group. And you have seen before our last star that as we launched just 2 weeks ago in Barcelona, our renewed range of vehicles, including electric vans and trucks. But before telling you more about Iveco Group, I would like really to start from a question. And you see an image here quite clear. So do you know which is the main issue our fleet owners are facing right now? You can think about, I'm sure some of you have already some idea. So it's really surprising, but it's the lack of drivers. So we are really facing a quite huge problem here. In Europe, for instance, we have more or less 400,000 unfilled positions here. And clearly, this is a point that we need to address. So, but what is really the reason why the drivers are more and more difficult to find? So certainly, they are away from home, long time of their journey. They are facing also unpredictable events. We have roads more and more unsafe. And also, they need to manage logistics operations, which are very complex and more under pressure, of course, by their companies. So that's why we need to address these key points and improve the driver experience, their life on board, comfort, and safety. And today, we will introduce to you one of the technology designed to resolve these pain points. So a few words about Iveco Group. Our company is a multinational that design, test, and produce light, medium, and heavy commercial vehicles, but also powertrain and specialty vehicles for off-road application, firefighting, and military applications as well. The history dates back to 1975, when Iveco was founded, merging several brands, including Fiat Industriali and also Magirus, and a few years later, Pegasro in Spain. More recently, we were part of CNH Industry for almost 9 years before our spin-off in 2022, when we began our journey as an independent company called Iveco Group, and we had our first day of trading on Milan Stock Exchange. Just a few figures. So we are headquartered in Turin. We have 8 brands and 35,000 employees worldwide. Our 20 industrial sites and 29 R&D centers are spread throughout Europe, Latin America, and Asia. And technology, digitalization, innovation are our main pillars, and we own most of the IP of algorithms and software that we develop. And as we develop more than 5,000 patents, as you can see, so innovation is a key for us in our company. Now, all of us have heard about the word perma-crisis to refer to a long and permanent period of crisis. I want to propose now a variation of this concept, really from a business perspective. When a company faces major disruption in its markets, it can be perceived as basically an opportunity or a threat. And I would like now to talk more about perma-chance rather than perma-crisis. I'm referring to the revolution in terms of automation that we're going to face. So the automotive sector is, of course, seeing this automation growing more and more. And we see now a new interaction between humans and machines that will generate unparalleled business outcomes. And we would like really to tell you more about that today. And automation will generate and improve sustainability, safety, and will make the life of drivers more comfortable as well. So Iveco Group has a very customer-centric vision since a long time. Our company purpose states this clearly. So we are a home of unique people and brands that power your business and missions to advance a more sustainable society. This is our purpose. Our products and services are around key themes of sustainability, health, safety, and productivity. We believe in the power of uniqueness and distinctiveness, as well as innovation and cooperation, as our partnership with AWS is confirming as well. And our values actually are very aligned with the Amazon principles. And of course, this was training our cooperation since a few years. Now, what is important in terms of mega trends today? First of all, we are, of course, working on all of them. As you can see, in the automotive sector, electrification is a key for sustainability, but also we are opening new business models like pay-per-use, which are based on data that we retrieve from the field. Autonomous driving, more and more, even if we are talking always about level 2++, so with the driver still responsible of it, and AI-based services to improve productivity and vehicle uptime. And one of the most important enablers is, of course, the cloud. The cloud allows us to collect data, to manage data, to aggregate them, and to generate algorithms and services and digital products that help our customers. And the vehicle is also becoming a marketplace, so an hub of service transitions. So our digital innovation journey with AWS started back to 2018, as Alessandro was saying before, when we met in Seattle, and we found a common centric vision. So we decided to collaborate for a first innovation workshop with Preserve to innovate and to generate really a new service, starting from the real customer pain points and working backwards to define a possible solution. In fact, 1.5 years later, we launched our driver assistant that we call Driver Pal at the re:Invent 2020. And also this approach, as well as the Two Pizza team, has entered in our company DNA. And the way of working was really in our daily experience, driving us towards new innovations. But that's not where our story ends, and Alessandro now will describe how AWS and professional services support Iveco Group to implement the cloud strategy platform.
Thank you, Fabrizio. Thank you so much. So when we started the first collaboration, we've seen that the DNA of AWS, PRO301, and Iveco Group was pretty similar. Therefore, we tried to reiterate the very same prescriptive approach, also iteratively for other interaction. And here you can see in this slide the steps of the process that are the key of the success. And originally, we always start identifying together with you as a customer An opportunity for identifying a business problem to be addressed or a problem. And we work backwards from the identification of this problem in order to define which are the business goals that you want to achieve. Starting from that, we then analyze and propose the collaboration and the different steps in terms of planning. And then we start with what we call start small and think big approach. So we define a pilot or small POC in order to shorten the time to achieve the first concrete result. As soon as those results are ready, and we got data point to be presented to the leadership team, we get a sponsorship to go ahead with the scaling and industrialization. And for this aspect, we leverage on the support of the customer itself or even our skilled partners. Now, let me show which are the main achievements that we have achieved so far just in the last 2 years. So after the first experimentation with DriverPal, we move forward with many other streams. The common layer of all of that is the innovation. We have also to keep in mind not only to create technical artifacts, but we have to bring new values and support you in order to achieve those business outcomes. So reading from the left to the right, you see that we start from some technical achievements that are related to products that have been realized together with Iveco Group, starting from web and customer portals that are necessary for monitoring the fleet of vehicles, as well as monitoring the telemetry and all the other necessary information to take the control of the vehicles themselves. And we launched together the DriverPal. DriverPal is the vocal assistant companion that allows the driver to reduce the manual interaction with the vehicle itself. So through the vocal assistant, the driver can be more concentrated on the guide, and also there are some nice capability also to get in community with other drivers. But the specific DriverPal is not enough to manage the fleets. It's important to have data about the fleets. Therefore, we concentrate a lot of our efforts also into modernize and migrate a connected vehicle platform that allows to collect the telemetry data in data lake and also to allow Iveco Group to build business intelligence and machine learning algorithms on top of this data. This is very crucial, and Marco will come late on this aspect, and this is crucial also for how we were enabled on the usage of generative AI. Then we can say that Iveco Group is not only a technology company, they are also starting to produce services and other kind of business model like Gate that was mentioned before by Fabrizio. And is also transforming the ways of working in a more agile fashion to get ready on new trends on the market or new opportunity. Today, we will concentrate mainly on the technology, and in particular, the ones that I mentioned before. Let's go to see which is the timeline of our achievement. So we will concentrate in the last few years, but also we go beyond, looking at what's ahead in front of us. The first basic and most important achievement to start whatever kind of solution or product you have to develop on AWS is the foundation. So the combination of all the services related to security and basic ones that are necessary to build on top of it any business application. This is what we call landing zone. It can be considered as a product because it continuously evolves according to the new product or business opportunity. And therefore, it will grow again in the next few years. Then, as mentioned, DriverPal has been launched. The first version has been launched in 2021, and now is already on the roads. And recently, the second version, the 2.0, has been launched. This year, we started to work on the 3.0 with new capability, new feature that will make it more and more comfortable for the usage of the driver. As mentioned before, we launched in 2022 a new data lake, and this is the basis that allowed DriverPal and other tools in Iveco Group to be based on this data. But what happened this year? You know, generative AI arrived as a wave. There was a risk, because potentially it could then completely change our roadmap. But we did some clever decision, taking it as an opportunity to accelerate the development that were already in place and find new capabilities that could be unlocked thanks to the generative AI and thanks to the fact that Iveco Group already owns a huge amount of data where we can base generative AI functionalities. So now, the main takeaways that we want to share with you today are, first of all, giving you in a while a concrete example of what we realized with Iveco, starting from the business need that they have clearly in mind. Second, describe the process that we adopted to achieve this kind of goal. And third, a reference architecture to give you a kind of Kickstarter if you want to apply for similar use case the basics AWS services that you might use. But now, to provide in-depth details of the first area where we work together with Iveco Group, let me invite again on stage Fabrizio.
Thank you. So let's start to tell you more about the driver goals and pain points. So just to be clear, the driver, particularly for heavy trucks, is staying in the cab long time, and he wants to reach destination on time, maximizing safety, of course, and reducing the energy consumption. Then getting reliable recommendation and trustful next steps from the fleet owner, and arriving back home to their families and lovers as soon as possible. So these are the main goals of the drivers. The pain points for the fleet owner, we mentioned before, is the shortage, really, of drivers, as I mentioned. But for drivers is also the limited amount of real-time information in terms of route condition, in terms of weather, for instance, condition, to avoid unpredictable events that can impact on their time and generate delays in the delivery as well. And they need to manage also mandatory stops by regulation. They're also foreseen in Europe. So they need also training and support during their journey, including also logistics tasks as well. So that's why we decided to evolve the DriverPal 2.0 to the 3.0 powered by AWS Generative AI. And in particular here, we can see that the solution is leveraging on three new enhancements. Proactive vocal prompts, mainly related to real-time notification about different scenarios of events, like you can see also for the icons related to traffic conditions, but also vehicle diagnosis and potentially malfunctions, thanks to the fact that we develop predictive algorithms able to define the state of health of the main system and components also weeks in advance, which allow to notify a potential problem before the breakdown is occurring, with a significant improvement on uptime for our customers. So then a second stream is the collaborative assistant to enhance driver experience. And this is where the generative AI is really giving a lot of benefits, as we can retrieve information for a massive number of documents and manuals to support the driver, how to use a certain function in the vehicle, how to make the driving style more effective and safer, and many others. And this can be done through a very natural speech. And then the third one is the possibility to support multi-language communication. You can imagine that's extremely important, as the driver speaks several languages, and so the fleet owner can send a message, and this message can be automatically translated in the driver language. And this is awesome, is very useful for all of them. But now, I would like, as it was really difficult to bring the truck here on stage, I would like to show you how this works. So let's go to Italy, virtually, and then let's see how this system works.
Hello Brenda, today you have full loading and 2 unloading points. The related information has been already transmitted to the vehicle. Have a good day.
Okay, thanks. Let's navigate to the first destination. I'm always timely informed to accomplish my mission. I have trouble disconnecting the charging cable. Could you please help me?
According to the manual, there are a few reasons why the charging cable may not disconnect. 1. The user failed to interrupt the charging before attempting to disconnect the cable. 2. The cable or charging ports are damaged. The manual warns against using damaged cables or damaged electrical sockets. 3. The user did not verify the settings buttons on the infotainment to disconnect the charging cable. The manual suggests you check the status in the dedicated menu section.
Okay, thanks. I will try.
So more to come. You will see more use cases later. But now let's focus really on the benefit. So this solution is bringing significant business outcomes, impacting on productivity, safety, uptime, and sustainability. In terms of productivity, for instance, this enables smart routing, dynamic ETA improvement, which is the expected time of arrival, up to 20%, which is, of course, impacting significantly on the fleet owner business, on his direct revenues, right? Then we have also an important impact in terms of safety, because thanks to the driver power, the driver can just perform all the main actions, operations vocally. So he can continue to stay concentrated on driving, and this, of course, improves significantly the safety and the risk of accidents. Then we mentioned before the predictive diagnosis, so we are able to communicate notification on the state of health of the vehicle, but also the driver himself, and this can improve the uptime, and we expect up to 40% reduction of unplanned stops, which also impact on reducing the total cost of ownership of the fleet owner. We can also do any kind of software update over there, and this can be notified also through the driver PAL 3.0. When we come to sustainability, which is extremely important for us, is one of the main pillars, we have also a direct link to the total cost reduction here. The driver PAL can help to reduce energy and fuel consumption up to 10%, providing driving score updates, hints, and training to the driver. Now, let's continue with Marco to deep dive on the technical architectural generative AI. Thank you, Marco.
Thanks, Fabrizio. Can you hear me okay? So thanks for being here today. My name is Marco Guerriero, and I lead the data, artificial intelligence, and machine learning and quantum computing teams within AWS Professional Services. I want to start with my personal story. So I am a father of 3 kids. They are crazy about stories. They always want to hear stories. And in the past 7 years, I use all my imagination. And now that I'm running out of it, I started to use generative AI to come up with fancy stories that are tailored to their preference. But please don't tell them, because they like to think that I'm their hero story maker. Now, generative AI, as Alessandro was saying before, is a subfield of AI aiming to generate any kind of content across different modalities, from text to speech to pictures, videos, music. And the main ingredients of this magic black box are 3. The first one is accessibility to the vast amount of data. Second ingredient is the computational power that cloud supports. And last but not least, the introduction of new architectures in the computer science community, namely transformers, which are these giant neural networks that are also known as, sorry, the slide. that are also known as foundational models. Foundational models are huge neural networks that can perform so many tasks as opposed to traditional machine learning just because they contain a large number of parameters that make them capable of learning complex concepts. Generative AI is revolutionary, but in order to get value out of it, you don't need to train your models from scratch because you can customize pre-trained models by leveraging techniques like fine-tuning or another very popular approach these days that perhaps in these past days you heard multiple times. This technique is called RAG. RAG is an acronym that stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation. And later on, I will show you in details how we implemented the RAG approach for driver assistant within Iveco Group. Which is the AWS service that can allow you to generate great content and deploy generative AI application at scale. How many of you have heard about Amazon Bedrock? Wow, OK. I still see someone who has not heard this word before. But Amazon Bedrock is a managed service. Managed service means that you don't need to worry about the underlying infrastructure from networking to security that allows you to design, build, and deploy generative application at scale. You can easily experiment with Amazon Bedrock, and Amazon Bedrock offers you the flexibility and possibility to choose different foundational models coming from the top leading AI companies. A few days ago, the CEO of Anthropic was on stage with Adam, our CEO, to share great news about this ongoing collaboration. But foundational models, even though they have a robust understanding of natural language, alone are not able to complete any kind of business task. For that, you still need orchestration of API calls. You still also need to build connectors to access data. And this point brings me to the next slide, which is the importance of having a data foundation, data infrastructure, to properly power generative applications. If you think about it, every company out there, I mean, you have access to the same foundational models, like Iveco Group. But companies that make value out of it are those who will do so with a proper data strategy. So moving from generic generative AI to generative AI that are powered by your data is key to your success. And with the Iveco Group, over the past few years, we built what we call AWS Connected Mobility Data Lake that supports the full life cycle of the data, from ingesting and collecting real-time or near real-time data coming from the vehicles, all the way to querying and analyzing data using analytics services or machine learning services. As you know, Amazon SageMaker is our workhorse for machine learning. Last point I would like to stress on this slide, and I'm very sensitive to this topic, is responsible AI. And I was very happy when I started to work with the Iveco Group, and especially Fabrizio, when we started to discuss about how to build responsible AI within Iveco Group ecosystem. So responsible AI is central, is an imperative strategy to AWS. And when, this is my personal tip, when you decide generative AI applications, keep in mind concepts like trust, safety, and transparency. And this is what we do every day, basically, with the Iveco Group, aligning the application to Iveco Group values. Now, after these few slides, let's switch gears and dive deep into the functional architecture of driver PRO301, which is this next generation of assistant. conceptually, we can structure the solution with 5 main building blocks, starting from the left all the way to the right. Let me start with extremes blocks, which are the client application, that is the main interface through which a driver communicates with the application. It is installed in the infotainment system within the truck cabin. If we now jump to the device and connectivity layer, we can appreciate the fact that this layer handles onboard computers and sensors that retrieve and ingest data coming from the vehicle. It's also responsible for the connectivity aspect. For example, in order to be on the cloud, you need to access internet through 5G modems and so on. So while these two layers, these two extreme layers, play a crucial role for the entire application, today I would like to focus on the 3 central layers: the API layers, the generative AI layer, and the data layer. And in the next slide, I will walk you through a target architecture. Let me first tell you that this is a simplified version of the high-level architecture that we design in collaboration with Iveco Group. So we always co-create with the customer. So again, we start with the API layer, and then we move to data layer, and last but not least, the intelligent core of the application, which is the generative AI layer. So as you can imagine, there are a lot of services that come together to realize the solution. So API layer, you see here a bunch of services. Let me walk you through each of them. We start with Amazon Route 53, which is this highly scalable service for DNS. DNS stands for Domain Name System Translation. Then we have the security service, AWS WAF. It's not a waffle, OK? WAF stands for Web Application Firewall, and it protects the API gateway from web exploits, like SQL injections or cross-site scripting. Then we have the Amazon API Gateway that is responsible for API management, and it represents the front door to the generative AI layer. And last but not least, we use Amazon Cognito for user authentication and authorization. We move then to the data layer. So we have a bunch of services here. So let me again walk you through each of them. We store telemetry data in Amazon Redshift, which is the AWS service for data warehouse. It's a structured big database that also stores the output of machine learning algorithms that Iveco Group has designed and built over the past 20 years. Those algorithms run against the raw data, and they output something like predictive maintenance recommendations. So the output of these algorithms are stored in Amazon Redshift. And later on, it will be clear why we store also this output. Then, once we store this telemetry data and the output of this machine learning algorithm in Redshift, we move them to DynamoDB, but before that, we use AWS Glue to run ETL jobs. ETL stands for extract, transform, and load, to further process this data. While doing that, we use the Iveco Group data catalog for metadata enrichment. Now, let me give you the gist behind this. Some of the data stored in Amazon Redshift are not human readable. The tags, they don't have any business context attached to them. By leveraging the business glossary in the Iveco Group data catalog, we are able to make not human readable tags more business friendly. And this is extremely important to further inform Amazon Bedrock that is still smart, but if we can help smart people with even more intelligence, why not? And this is the key. Finally, in Amazon S3, we store unstructured data like vehicle manuals and anything in PDF format that can be useful to retrieve contextually relevant information. Now, this is the final layer, which is the most important one. It's called generative AI layer. It consists of different services. We start with the multimodal agent that routes the queries, requests coming from the user, from the driver. And it uses Amazon Kendra for indexing and retrieving contextually relevant information from vehicle manuals. It also triggers queries to Amazon DB to retrieve structured, relevant data. And in the next slide, this concept will become super clear, I promise. Last but not least, we have Amazon SQS that is responsible to decouple the conversational workflow that happens above from the permanent storage of the multi-turn conversations. But before storing the historical conversations in Amazon S3, we also use Amazon Comprehend to detect and redact all the PII data. PII stands for personally identifiable information. In this way, we are compliant with the Iveco Group regulations, with the GDPR, and as I was saying before, in this way, we embrace the responsible AI principles. Now, the next slide will walk you through a concrete scenario. So we will try to help you walk you through the real experience of the solution. So for this example, we are using a RAG approach. RAG approach grounds large language models to verifiable information coming from the Iveco Group data lake, and also offers some insights on the generative process behind the large language models. So let's suppose that the driver will ask the question that you can read on the left side of the slide. What is the eco switch, and how can it help me? Driver PAL, powered by Amazon Bedrock, will start to reply. As you can see, the answer on the right side of the slide. So I want to really now focus on what makes this application reason over the question that the driver asked. As you can see from the answer, driver PAL was able to, first of all, identify the definition of the eco switch within the user manual. Second, it was also able to retrieve all the historical information about the usage of eco switch from the structured telemetry data stored in Amazon DB. So that is why here we talk about multimodal agent. We have two modalities. The first modality is unstructured data, vehicle manuals. The second modality is structured data, telemetry data, real-time data coming directly from the vehicle and stored in Amazon DB. So last bit on this slide is what really makes this application reason like we, the human being, do, is, of course, the great foundational models that are provided within Amazon Bedrock, but also a very powerful technique for prompt engineering, which is called chain of thoughts. Chain of thought, if you think about it, it's an outcome-based instructions that can elicit the response that we want from a large language model. I will be happy also to address any technical question after this talk. And my last slide before moving to Italy virtually again is about security and privacy. At AWS, we say that security is job zero. Now with generative AI, we can say that responsible AI and privacy is job zero. So within this application, we make sure that no Iveco Group data are leaked from this application and are used to train new models or even existing models within Amazon Bedrock. All the data is encrypted at rest and on transit. And again, it was a pleasure to really embrace the security, all the security aspects behind this application with Iveco Group and their great engineering team. With that, again, let's watch the second and last part of the video, and let's fly to Italy, of course, virtually.
How is my driving style?
Based on the provided context, your driving style seems mostly appropriate, with a few areas that could use some improvement. Specifically, cruise control usage could be improved by exploiting it more often whenever possible. The accelerator pedal usage needs work. Try to reduce harsh acceleration occurrences and press the pedal more gradually. Usage of the Eco Switch and Eco Roll features should be improved by keeping them enabled at all times during driving. Overall, focusing more on using cruise control, driving more gently and enabling eco features should help you optimizing your driving style. Hello Kevin, let me give you some information about your daily trip. Your vehicle's health is good. The weather along your route will be perfect with 24 degrees Celsius and clear skies. Nowadays, your fidelity program level is expert. How can I support you today?
Can you tell me how to improve my level?
Sure, you can work on many different aspects to improve your level, from reducing the number of harsh braking to increasing the usage of predictive cruise control. I can provide you all the details if you want. As an example, keeping the Eco Roll active during your daily missions will grant you the master level in about 2 weeks.
Great, let's do so.
Due to a car accident in 70 kilometers, the delivery plan has been updated. Your new destination is Milan MPX2. New estimated time of arrival is 2:30 p.m. 1 hour 15 form now. Delivery warehouse is already informed and waiting for you. Have a safe trip.
Okay, let's navigate to the new destination. Thanks for optimizing my time.
My pleasure, Brenda.
Always a lot to learn from Marco, so thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to hear about architecture and generative AI. You have seen perhaps before also talking about fidelity program. I would like just to spend one word about that. So basically, we define a way to provide prizes to the best drivers in terms of driving style, which is also a way to have a retention of drivers and also a win-to-win with the fleet owners as they can improve fuel consumption, energy consumption, and win prizes because they are doing well. So this is what about the fidelity program we have seen before. Now, I would like really to share with you a quote of our CEO, Gerrit Marx, which is underlining definitely our strong partnership with AWS, which is focused on innovation and the distinctiveness, because we focus really on disrupting the market with new solutions. And he's really obsessed also about customer centricity, as he decided as well to have the iconic Amazonian empty chair in his meeting room to always represent our customer. But not only external customers, but also internal customers, internal shareholders, because all the company must be engaged in our digital transformation. And just as a confirmation of what I was saying, we are expanding the application of generative AI from our products, but also to many others departments and processes in our company. So we have additional use cases to make our process more efficient. For instance, we can create chatbots to improve the documentation and knowledge management in engineering. This is helping a lot. Also, we can allow an intelligent automatic tender analysis, which is also important to support our business units. Also making possible automatic coding to help our software developers, and apply computer vision to enhance smart manufacturing, and many others that we're working on. But now, let's come back to Ale for the conclusions.
Thanks, Fabrizio. Thank you, Fabrizio. And you've seen how many things are really in front of us. So it's really just the beginning. And we are really happy about we started to adopt generative AI this year. We need to continue this kind of partnership with PRO301, with Iveco Group, with partners to scale this solution and to continue innovating with Iveco Group. So this is a journey where PRO301 are very crucial, but I would like just to mention also the huge amount of initiative that AWS is launching this year, not only on services, but also on programs. For example, recently, the AWS Generative AI Innovation Center has been launched, composed by a spectrum of experts in machine learning and specifically on generative AI that can come to help you to develop your business application together or not with the professional services team. So now we are arrived at the end of the session. I would like to invite on the stage Fabrizio and Marco. Here I would like to share our links. We are happy to get in contact with you today, in the next days, and in the next weeks. We got your also information related to the connection of professional services team. And beforehand, I remind to compile the survey on the application. And let me thank you all for having attended the session.